In order to determine whether or not an antique brooch that was found on Lot 21 is partially made of gold, his son Alex and his buddy Craig Tester traveled to St. Mary's University in Halifax. The brooch was discovered this year and was inspected by a geologist. Dr. Krista Bro, an associate professor of chemistry who specializes in electrochemical chemistry, as well as metals and their chemical compositions, along with her colleague, Dr. Xiang, are joined by Dr. Bro and Xiang in order to investigate the chemical composition of the brooch and determine whether or not it is composed of gold or any other precious metals. Employing a scanning electron microscope with a high level of optical power, after magnifying the brooch to a magnitude that is tens of thousands of times larger than its true size, the team will analyze its chemical makeup in order to discover whether or not it is composed of gold or any other valuable metals. Pure copper can be found in the dark area, whereas gold can be found in the light area. This is the very first piece of gold that has been certified to have been discovered on Oak Island, and it is regarded as a treasure. In light of the fact that Marty Lagena is thrilled about the discovery and intends to bring in the motherlode this year, he calls a meeting in the war room to inform his brother Rick and the other members of their team about the wonderful news. Marty Lagena, his son Alex, and his friends, together with his business partner Craig Tester, are going to St. Mary's University in order to investigate the prospect of discovering gold in an antique brooch that is located on Lot 21. A key event in the history of the Oak Island treasure hunt has occurred when Rick and Marty Lagena, along with their team, have found their first gold on Oak Island. This discovery marks a crucial development in the journey. They are pushed back further in time than they ever imagined they would be able to see here, as a result of the finding of a brooch and a lead cross that may be older than they ever anticipated. The Oak Island treasure hunt, which has been going on for 223 years, has just started, and the team is currently conducting a new probe drilling operation from within the garden shaft. This operation is being carried out by representatives from Duma Contracting Limited in order to search for valuables just outside the structure. The dilapidated 80-foot deep shaft, which is currently being refurbished by Duma, has yielded high trace evidence of gold through water testing, and it may also be located within a few feet of a potential treasure chamber that is connected to the original money pit. Marty Lagena is hoping to find something extremely substantial in the garden shaft, which is where the treasure search actually begins. They came upon a void in this location, which is roughly 10 feet deep. This void could be a hint of an offset chamber, or it could be a sign that they have found something unexpected. Now that Duma has reached a depth of 55 feet in the reconstruction of the garden shaft, they are about to manually probe drill a number of boreholes that will reach several feet outside of the structure in the hopes of reaching the void and determining what it might contain. In conclusion, the fabled Money Pit treasure vault is currently being reconstructed. The discovery of gold on Oak Island marks a significant step forward in the search for answers to the Oak Island treasure hunt. The team from Duma is using a powerful hydraulic earth drill to probe the garden shaft, using 12 holes at different angles to look for evidence of man-made workings and potential valuables. They are drilling through the tight lining of the shafts, cutting through a small piece of wood on every hole. This wood has been detected as having high gold values in the area. The team is interested in the wood samples and soil samples, and Rick is going to bring them to Emma to dig them out. Emma has shared some news about the gold in the wood, which is surprising. The wood samples extracted from a depth of 55 feet inside the garden shaft contain high trace evidence. At a concentration of 0.11%, it is affixed to the organic material that is the wood. Both the possibility of discovering gold in the wood and the possibility of conducting additional exploration have the crew very enthusiastic. In order to determine whether or not gold is present, they intend to conduct a test on the exterior of the shaft using water samples. This is a significant amount of gold. The crew is very enthusiastic about both of these possibilities. The team is resolute in their pursuit of the gold and intent on carrying on with their inquiry in order to achieve their objective of discovering gold. The team is now working on a gold discovery in the Money Pit location. Despite the fact that the results are astounding and mind-boggling, the team is resolute in their determination to proceed with the water in order to cross-check other samples and discover whether or not they can replicate them. They have high hopes that they might be in close proximity to the genuine treasure, and they are cooperating with one another in order to bring everything together. The geologist Terry Matt and the geologist Charles Barkhouse are keeping a tight eye on the drilling of borehole DN11.5, which has reached the potential treasure zone that is between 80 and 20 feet deep. They have broken through something that is around 90 feet below grade, which means that they are getting closer to the finding all the time. Due to the presence of trapped air and voids in the treasure zone, this void is located within the treasure zone, which is renowned for its high gold values. Currently, Rick and Marty are taking a break and contemplating the next steps to take in this situation. They have discovered a hole in the DN11.5 that appears to coincide with the DN12.5 and DN13.5, all of which have struck a structure that is 94 feet below grade. It is possible that they have reached the end of the tunnel. If Mike is able to hit this vacuum at a distance of around 90 feet in two other neighboring boreholes that are aligned with the garden shaft, the team has lately discovered what they think to be a tunnel that is at the same depth as previously discovered. In light of this, it appears that they may have reached the end of the tunnel. The group is enthusiastic about the possibility of finding riches in the Money Pit region, and they are resolved to gain. There is a group of investigators who are undertaking a treasure search in the area surrounding Oak Island, and the narrative provides a description of them. They are currently searching for a passageway that could lead them to the discovery of a significant quantity of gold that is concealed within the baby blob. The team is resolute in their pursuit of the riches that are located at the bottom of the garden shaft, and they have obtained the results of the X-ray fluorescent spectrometer, XRF, from DN11.5 in order to assist them in their search. Based on the findings of the XRF analysis, it can be concluded that the tunnel is in fact a tunnel and that it leads to the garden shaft. After being dried out and scanned with XRF, the wood sample that was retrieved from borehole DN11.5 was found to have originated from a tunnel that was approximately 90 feet deep. The findings revealed trace amounts of iron, manganese, titanium, calcium, potassium, and aluminum, all of which are materials that are anticipated to be found in the Oak Island region. The fact that they discovered a sizable quantity of gold, on the other hand, is a very important anomaly. This one-of-a-kind outcome, which was achieved by applying the concept in two distinct modes, in the woods and in the water, has the potential to establish a connection between the team and the location of the treasure, as well as the path from which they must go. On account of the fact that it might lead to an SP spot where exploratory drilling or digging can be carried out, the gold sampling of the water and wood is anticipated to be the most successful endeavor of this year. We are keeping our fingers crossed that this could be the beginning of a chain of evidence that is just as significant as the water sample has been up to this point. In addition to assuring the team that they would continue to work on locating the treasure, the team confirms that they will continue to submit. The team is ready, resolute in their pursuit of the wealth that lies at the bottom of the garden shaft, and they want to make use of the XRF results in order to ascertain its location and the possible direction it could be heading in. Furthermore, the team is committed to supplying further samples in order to assist them in making decisions that are based on accurate information. They are hopeful that their results may lead to the discovery of the wealth that is located at the bottom of the garden shaft. For both during and after the addition of the shaft area, a lot of people are positive, excited about the discoveries that will be made, and interested in where they came from. The team was able to figure out the right way for their excavation work by looking at maps and past observations of the land. The garden shaft was the best place to begin the addition at any height and on a flat surface. With this going on, an area of up to 80 feet can be dug up, explored, and watched. This is a large underground area that should yield many artifacts during the process. One thing is certain about this whole operation: good things will happen, even though the team will face some problems along the way. Another good thing is that some problems are easy to solve with the help of the team's partners at Dumas Contracting Limited. The drilling company is helpful when there is no way to get to places with a lot of metal materials. They can also help with additions if needed. If we're lucky, no prize will be forgotten and the chances of finding the lost treasure are higher than ever. The Dumas team starts the job on a good note, ready to find out more. A few hours into the workday, some team members met in the war room as normal, but this time it was to have a meeting with someone from LagIna Technologies. The purpose of the meeting was to go over the scientific reports of the Money Pit. A lot of the Oak Island team seems worried about what the reports might say. The study was mostly useful, and the LagIna Technology team worked hard to make sure it was correct. In the Money Pit area, the tech team put about 14 monitors into 5 boreholes. It's very, very deep, but most of the sensors were only 80 to 250 feet below the ground. This is very, very close to the tube. It wasn't just recently that the investigation was done. It happened as early as 2021, and it took almost 2 years to do all the necessary studies. This means that the report's conclusions are not based on quick observations, but on thorough study and testing. Based on the story, it looks like the sensors could pick up muons even when they were buried several feet deep. The representative said there were specific things to look for, like suits, voids, tubes that cross at the money pit, and strange things happening underground. The reports were shown clearly, showing how full the money pit was. The 3D picture shows that the areas with moderate density are yellow, the areas with low density are blue dots, and the areas with high density are orange and red. Based on how you look at it, places with a high density are more likely to have treasures, while areas with a low density are more likely to have tunnels, voids, or vaults. Based on the picture, the result is good overall. What should be the baby blob was found about 65 feet below the money pit, west of the garden shaft. There was a lot of stuff there. More than 112 feet below the surface, however, there is a low-density area. The team has a conflict of interest because the results mean they might not be able to get to the high-density area because Dumas Limited is still running. Luckily, this isn't the only place where there are a lot of people. An oddity was found about 85 feet southwest of the garden shaft and 230 feet below the money pit. It had a much higher density than other places. This information makes everyone think of their potential. It looks like Oak Island might have more than one prize. This fact has never occurred to searchers in the past or present until now. The team is willing to learn more about what has been found and agrees to use careful digging to try to find out more about the island. As the minute went on, another report was made about an odd, low-density area that Oak Island's team seemed to have looked into. It's different from other low-density, concentrated areas because it seems to cover a mythical, important spot. There have been many attempts to find Aladdin's cave, but it has been hidden by the void for a long time. The L15 hole was drilled, and a big hole was cut at the SDW of the garden shaft just a year ago. The cave was about 40 feet long and 12 feet wide, and there were drawings and other signs of human activity inside. When people were asked about the water in Aladdin's cave, they said it was heavily contaminated with heavy metals, and it looks like the water has some gold in it. It's possible that the cave has been found before, but if not, it has now because all the signs point to it being the right place for the mythological place to be. The report from Ideon Technologies has changed the game and taken a big step forward in finding the prize. Right now, they have exact places, clear goals, and a plan for how to drill. This is a great result that shows that the years of study were very useful. Luckily, L15 can be drilled right away because it is not near the garden shaft. Drilling can start as soon as it is planned to. The meeting went very well because it proved what most of the team already knew. There was more than one treasure at and near the money pit. I think we can all agree that technological progress was a big part of solving many of Oak Island's secrets. The Dumas contracting company keeps drilling deep in the garden shaft in the morning of a new day. This time, they are going to dig up L14, Aladdin's cave. On the other hand, archaeologists at Lot 5 keep digging deeper into the stone wall of the rectangle depression that was built to hide the treasures. Some finds have been made, as expected. Some of them go back to before Oak Island, and its treasures were found. The crew found a new object early on, a piece of metal that they thought might be a bolt or a chain link. There could be a few clues as to why the claimed chain link's pieces were found. Some people think that the object broke while being moved or bonded with other items, possibly treasure, and was then buried before the stone wall was built. There's also a chance that something strange and possibly more complicated happened in the area. Where did the idea come from? What was the point of it? Who were the makers anyway? It is likely that the proposed CT scan of the artifact would solve these questions. But one thing is for sure, Lot 5 wasn't just a neighborhood. There is proof that it was also used for military purposes, either because of a conflict or as a training ground. The archaeologists keep carefully digging and sorting to find more unique artifacts that might finally give them information about what people did in the area. Back in the money pit area, another member of the team starts to work on the trash that was taken away. The expert with the metal detector and the historian on the team worked together to dig through the trash and find metal objects. Gary found several strong metal signs in the thick, murky water more than a year ago, But he wasn't able to get as much information because the search had been stopped. There was, however, a lot of proof that the place had a lot of precious metals. There are fewer limits on the operation this time, which means it will have more effects. Not long after the scanning, the detector made a number of beeps, which, as expected, meant that valuable metals were present. In no time, a big metal piece thought to be a wedge was found in the mud and other junk. The metal spike is likely part of an axe, as this is what most people think it is. But why would a piece of metal from an axe be more than 80 feet below the ground? Was it used to build tunnels, or did it break while the valuable metals were being buried? If this theory is even slightly true, it looks like the metal wedge dates back to at least 1735. It may contain information about the people who lived in that area, and their way of life, society, and technology. The item was sealed and kept until it could be scanned and studied in the lab. The search was put on hold until the debris was dry enough to dig through properly. Drilling for shaft L14 is still going on late into the night, and the team is getting closer and closer to Aladdin's cave all the time. Finally, at 142.5 feet, the void is reached. The team decides to keep drilling until they find something that points to the high-density area, which is not common in this area. During the first dig, the metal proof was found more than 160 feet below. However, the hole seems to be much closer and higher than expected now. Could there be a reason for this new growth? Or is the empty space just where it should be? The good news is that the answers to the questions could be found in the 3D that IDN technology showed. From the picture, it looks like the cave's carving has an odd shape, and it looks like some parts of the roof are much higher than expected. If you believe Marty Laguna's idea, there is a chance that Aladdin's cage was the first storage vault, or that it is an extension of the area where the money pit collapsed. How it happened could have been so many different things. Nevertheless, it is likely that there are some in the area. As the digging went on, it was said that there was nothing but empty space about 148 feet below. This suggests that the void may have been found. In general, the L14 digging was good enough to make the search go on. The team's next job is to put cameras, scanners, and sonar devices several feet into the hole to watch and record what's going on inside the soon-to-be-found cave and how it's built. To begin with, the hole will be left empty so that it can dry out and become clean enough for the devices to be put in. As soon as the new day starts, people from Dumas start drilling again in the hopes of getting past the empty space. Since the late 1700s, the Oak Island team, directed by geologist Terry Matt and historian Charles Barris, has been exploring the island for treasure and undiscovered secrets. They found a mystery location known as the Money Pit, which has served as the focus of innumerable searches. 90 feet below the surface, the team found a sizable empty area that might be a tunnel or secret chamber. Some people think they may have found something more hazardous than riches, which has led to additional inquiries and rumors. A tiny piece of gold that was discovered in the Money Pit and suggested more undiscovered secrets was another fascinating discovery. The group is currently making progress with every discovery. Combining hands-on learning with science. One of the most remarkable discoveries made during the excavation of the island's lengthy hidden past was a gold-plated 14th century brooch that generated discussions about whether it belonged to the island's former residents or was related to the legendary treasures. Fragments of 17th century human bones with an unexpected origin were another fascinating discovery. The history of Oak Island became even more complicated when DNA tests showed that people from distant places had somehow found their way there. Another fascinating find was a 95-foot tunnel beneath the garden shaft that had already yielded silver and gold. As the team continues their journey, they discover more mysteries and hidden secrets about the island. The team led by Rick and Marty Lagena has been searching for treasure off the southern coast of Nova Scotia for nearly 20 years. They have found underground passageways and rooms beneath the ancient cave of Oak Island, which they believe holds secrets from centuries past. One day, they broke into a cave that had been closed off for thousands of years. The Curse of Oak Island is a unique adventure that combines history, archaeology, and treasure hunting. Everyone was stunned by the discovery and started to speculate that these hidden areas might be concealing ancient artifacts or treasures. As they worked to map the underground structures, they encountered a difficult obstacle when attempting to enter the recently found cave. They made the decision to record their exploration in order to document the moment when they eventually found Oak Island's hidden treasures. Even though the team had made important discoveries, they were also collaborating with Scott Barlow and a team from Dumac Contracting Limited to assist in the excavation of another crucial area known as the Garden Shaft. This area had previously been difficult to explore because of flooding, but during this portion of their work, they discovered a hidden cave that was roughly 65 feet deep and had wooden beams that suggested it was a sizable man-made room constructed beneath the island. The team's perseverance and the possibility of new discoveries made the show, The Curse of Oak Island, an unforgettable journey. In an exciting report from Aiden Technologies, the team on Oak Island revealed that they had spent 2 years gathering information on the Money Pit, one of the most well-known and enigmatic locations on the island. They are getting ready to explore a deep cave, 140 to 142 feet underground, in an effort to determine whether humans have ever explored this area before. In order to ascertain whether people have previously entered Aladdin's cave, the team utilizes a high-def camera to examine it. They also use sonar technology to produce comprehensive scans of the cave, which may help them comprehend its layout and its secrets. The team uses a special sonar device called the Echologger Logger D710, which sends out strong radar pulses to detect objects, artifacts, or barriers hidden within the cave. This information helps create a 3D map of the underwater spaces needed to explore, showing the true nature of the cave and potential paths leading to other secret areas of the island. Blaine Carr, an underwater imaging expert, is crucial in helping the team solve the puzzle and uncover the secrets of Oak Island's past. The team gathered in their war room to view 3D images taken by the sonar scan, which showed a man-made entrance leading into a cave that appeared to have formed naturally. This finding energized them and gave them hope that a significant discovery was imminent. When Rick saw dirt on the floor and Marty displayed evidence of odd objects discovered inside the cave, he became enthusiastic about the prospect of venturing farther into the cave, thinking they were on the brink of a significant archaeological discovery. There may be more to Lot 5 than first appears, possibly a bustling, as the team started to delve deeper into the area, which had not been thoroughly examined before they found surprising elements like broken red pottery embedded in rock layers with a striking purple glaze and a dark, rich glaze on the inside. Long before the 1760s, iron was found deep below using a metal detector, indicating the presence of important iron artifacts. When a lump from the previous season's findings was discovered to be a metal lock, the crew began to believe that the circular region had been purposefully constructed by somebody, probably the original people who had hidden there. Treasures. Although Emma's CT scan provided more precise information, Elle thought it was more likely to be an old river raft. The team is eager to investigate a tunnel beneath the garden shaft in the hopes of finding something significant. They come across an unexpected drip of water leaking from the tunnel soil, prompting Roger to suggest a solution to stop the water. He intends to drill 9 large holes in the affected wall and fill them with urethane, which will solidify and seal the leaks. This brings the team closer to the tunnel that leads directly under the garden shaft and towards an area they call the Baby Blob. The spike is full of iron and may have served a variety of purposes prior to the 1840s. Carmen Legg, a blacksmith expert, identified the object as a wedge about 4 inches long with a ring around it. A crucial meeting involving hydrogeologist Dr. Fred Michael, chemist Dr. Mark Liu, and geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner is called around the Money Pit location. Metal traces can be found using fluorescence testing, and non-metal materials including wood, organic materials, and ceramics can be found using fluorescent spectroscopy. The team begins drilling a new borehole, KL-11-5, with the goal of intersecting with L-16 and reaching the center of Aladdin's cave at 142 feet. A high-def camera shows the interior of the cave and a square-headed bolt on a wall, confirming human activity within the cave. Dr. Spooner explains that borehole L-16 leads to Aladdin's cave, a large cavern known to the team as Aladdin's cave. An old coin discovered during Rick and Gary's thorough examination of Lot 5 suggests that there are still more treasures and stories to be discovered. The coins closely resemble an ancient Roman coin discovered nearby and point to a larger story developing at Lot 5. A group of specialists used computed tomography and X-ray fluorescence, XRF, to analyze coins discovered on an island. According to CT scans, the first coin was composed mostly of copper with a trace amount of silver, indicating that it was old but predated contemporary coin-making methods. The second piece, which resembled Roman coinage in its complex design of a female figure, was discovered to be composed of copper, silicone lead, and tin. The final coin was handmade, had a distinctive pattern, and contained high amounts of calcium and phosphorus, authenticating it as a 13th century French denier. The group conjectured that the coins might be related to a well-known French trade token, and that the Knights Templar might have contributed to their discovery. A well-shaped piece of timber, a rusted iron nail, white and blue ceramic, and a clay pipe stem near a large rock were among the evidence of human activity found by Oak Island's team during their recent exploration to find underwater artifacts from their previous expedition near the dam. Fragments of old glass bottles also emerged from the mud, revealing a story buried in the Mi-A disc-shaped item with a center hole that resembled an old Chinese coin was discovered when a metal detector detected a significant amount of metal. This implies that the region may have formerly been a commercial hub impacted by a shipwreck or the actions of nearby Native Americans. Expert analysis said that the enormous shard of pottery that Jimmy discovered buried in the earth after Marty removed large rocks from a circular area was probably a large cooking vessel from the late 1700s that was either hidden by someone or possessed by the island's initial occupants. As Jack and Helen dug through the remains of the circular building, they found a hand-rotted nail that might have been used to fasten a wooden structure, pieces of a pipe stem, and a nail that indicated a log cabin beneath the layers of earth. They also found a metal hinge that looked like it was a part of a frame structure. The discoveries made at Oak Island keep assembling a more comprehensive account of historical occurrences and constructions that provide light on the lives of the island's first settlers.